New video time! Guys, I am Yard Offside FM, and it is very nice to see you again. This is episode 4 of Giants of Istanbul, my Football Manager 2017 Let's Play series as Galatasaray in the Turkish Super League. So guys, in the last episode, which was episode 3, you will remember that we managed to get a pretty neat result against Gaziantepspor. It was at home, but we did win 2-0, and it was a pretty satisfying result. Thought we were by far the much better team. And so I was really hopeful going into the next round of fixtures against sort of lower class teams that we would, lower class. Oi, mate, we're going to play Galatasaray this weekend. No, I mean, not as good teams. And it didn't really work out that way. We had 2 consecutive 0-0 draws against Konyaspor and Bursaspor, incredibly disappointing. But then to add insult to injury, we lost to Kayserispor. Granted, it was on the road, but Kayserispor, I believe, they're just above relegation. Yeah, so a really poor team that we should have absolutely, completely blown away, and we managed to lose 1-2 on the day. Fenerbahce were our next opponents, and we did manage to get a win, seemingly out of nowhere, especially because not only did we win, we were in many ways the better team. More shots on target, more possession. We almost never lead possession. Fenerbahce were desperately poor. They committed a lot of fouls. They really kind of fell for our match strategy of running at the defense and sort of winning free kicks, and I believe it was a penalty in the end. Scored by Selçuk. Doesn't show that it was a penalty, but you'll have to take my word for it. It was a penalty, guys. It was a great result. I was thrilled with it. Fenerbahce, huge local rivals of Galatasaray. But then what did we do? We went back to our previous run of form by managing to ultimately lose to... I'm unfortunately won't be able to pronounce this name properly. Kastamonu. They are, I believe, a second league red, which I think is the third sort of level of the Turkish football pyramid. They're a woeful team, and we should have run them off the park. And we did. We did lead in by just about every metric aside from possession, which, as I mentioned, we usually don't tend to do that. And we lost on penalties, guys. Very, very, very disappointing. Absolutely atrocious. And now we head into this game against our arch rivals Beşiktaş, who you will remember in episode 2 we were quite comprehensively destroyed by. And we are in horrific form. So this series has kind of taken a turn for the worse, guys, and a lot of what I've been trying to do is pull us out of this tailspin. Primarily in tactics, I've modified our standard inverted wingback poacher 4-4-1-1 formation. I've made some small modifications in in instructions? First of all, I've turned off hit early crosses, but I think I may have mentioned that in an early episode. I've also changed the way that we are closing down. Originally, I had it set to no closing down, and I was just finding that it was resulting in opponents getting more shots off than were necessary, and was certainly hurting our possession because we weren't making an effort to win the ball back. And then I also made some small changes in individual player instructions. I have asked our, it's very hard to see that print, and I apologize, but I have asked our center attacking mid to shoot less often in an attempt to get Wesley Schneider, who's usually been playing in that role, to really hang on to the ball more often and not take his sort of 30-yard bombs that always miss. And I've also asked him to take more risks and try and find the feet of our poacher, who I've also asked to move into channels. And there's been some success with that, but overall, one of our major weaknesses has been a lack of clinical goal scoring, a lack of clinical finishing. That was by far the glaring problem against Kastamonu in our cup game. Is we had plenty of chances, but they were just absolutely atrocious finishing. I think we do have composure and mental frailties in our team. We have a lack of composure, and we have mental frailties in our team at the moment, and I'm not sure if that's just form or if it's just a group of players that we have. So yeah, I've modified this formation slightly. I've also introduced a new formation, a 5-1-2-2, I'm calling it, that uses some of the same roles, but also offers us a few more options in the middle going forward. Really try to clog up the opposition, put them on the back foot, and produce more chances. This formation certainly does help us more in an attacking sense, but it has unfortunately really not helped us be more clinical. We're running into precisely the same problems. And that's very frustrating, guys. I probably will try to use this formation against Beşiktaş today, unless, of course, we score a very early goal, in which case I'm probably going to stay in this more defensive 4-4-1-1 formation. But you will probably see that other formation, that other new tactic in action today. So as a result of our poor run of form, guys, I do want to just go over the board confidence page and show you how we're doing. Obviously, the board are not particularly happy with our performances in the Turkish league, in the Turkish Super League, and they're very, very unhappy that we've gone out at the first time of asking against a third level team that had no business getting a result over us whatsoever. They're not particularly pleased about our run of play in our current form. They're more or less satisfied with the business that we've done, primarily because we've made a transfer profit for the year, or for the summer, for the 2016 summer window, I should say. And they're delighted with our club philosophies because despite our profligacy in front of goal, we are still defending well. And one of the things I did when I came in with the start of this save was I asked the board to consider playing defensive football as one of our philosophies, and they agreed to that, and we've really hit that out of the park, so to speak. We are handling the club finances relatively well, despite the fact that the club is very probably not is probably going to fail financial fair play regulations here for the European Champions Cup, but looks like we're not going to qualify for it anyway in current form. And squad harmony has been relatively problematic, but it does seem to be getting a little bit better. We got to start scoring goals if we really want it to be a truly to truly have that squad harmony. As you can see here, guys, I'm just scrolling through the rest of these options in this confidence page. Competition performance, we've already looked at. Match performance, you can see absolutely outstanding ratings for the win against Fenerbahce, and other end of the spectrum for that horrendous loss to Kastamonuspor. So things are not looking particularly excellent right now. I am not anticipating a result against Beşiktaş, not even close. We need to sort things out and fast, and we need to really suss out which players are performing and which players just need to be dropped immediately. And frankly, Aaron Derdiak is at the top of that list. He's, as you can see here, he's the worst player on our team in terms of shots on target over attempted shots. Misses the mark far too often. I've had it with him. He may be the best striker in our squad in terms of attributes, but he's simply not producing, and it's time for a change. As you can see, we are performing well in terms of defense and in terms of mistakes. We've committed one, essentially. Ramon Mota is the only person who's committed any mistakes, but we knew that we were solid at the back. The issue is in attack. As I mentioned in the last episode, guys, there's been a huge drop-off in the form of Ismail Ünsal, and he's really not a first-team option. So that does mean that, as we go back over to the tactics screen, that does mean that for this game against Beşiktaş, we will be using Kolbeinn Sigborsson, the Icelander, or Icelandic. I'm not sure what the demonym is. But at any rate, guys, for the most part, the rest of the team is largely unchanged, aside from the fact that I've brought in Yasin Üstekin as a left winger. He's not native to the position, really, and he's unconvincing in that defensive winger role. Not really thrilled about it, but he's sort of the best option that we have at the moment because we do have some serious injuries in the squad still, particularly this injury that you guys already know about to Lucas Podolski. We also have an injury to Serdar Aziz. I don't believe that's as long-term an injury as Podolski. Actually, he is out for 3 to 4 weeks. So that's quite long-term, but really Aziz has been used more as a sort of reserve center back, and it's not a disastrous loss. Ramon Mota is on a suspension for accumulation of yellow cards. So that produces another problem in terms of finding cover for the left wing. And that's why Yassin has been sort of shoehorned in there, even though he's really not particularly well suited. But for the most part, the team is a relatively standard selection. Muslera in goal, Sheju and Semi as our center backs. Semi has not seen a lot of action thus far this season, but he really is covering for the missing Mota and Aziz and Serdar Aziz. And then we have Kavanda and Hakan covering the fullback positions. Sabri and Yassin, as I mentioned. Sabri Sarıoğlu, who's this player who's my assistant really likes. I'm kind of mad about him, but he does seem to fit the role of a defensive winger pretty well. And then we have Tolga and Selçuk Anan in the midfield as usual, Schneider in front of them, and as I said, Sigborsson in front of them in attack. So let's get into this game against Beşiktaş here, guys. Antalyaspor winning against Gençlerbirliği. I'm so sorry to any Turkish viewers. I cannot pronounce some of these words. I do okay with some stuff. I make my best attempts, but so Beşiktaş appeared to still be using this asymmetrical formation that they absolutely tore us apart with in the first game that we saw against them earlier this season. I believe that was episode 2 when we lost to them in the Super Cup. Looks like they're still going to be using that, and as I said, guys, I'm expecting that they will have similarly positive results with it today. We will do our best, and we will try and use this new formation. I think sometime in the first half. Kavanda is lacking in match sharpness. How bad is it? Let's go over to selection info so that will come up. Oh, his match sharpness is terrible. I believe there was an injury to Kavanda, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think he's been out, actually. But at 91% condition, that's okay. He probably will have to be substituted, and I don't know who we have in terms of options. Linus can come on. Martin Linus can probably be used. Martin Linus has been in terrible form, and that's one of the reasons that he's been dropped in favor of Yassin. But we'll see how it goes, guys. We'll submit the team, and we'll use Kavanda as long as we can. I believe Beşiktaş have enough quality to see off Galatasaray. Galatasaray's task will not be made any easier by the absence of Lucas Podolski and Ramon Mota. Yeah, I would tend to agree with the pre-match analysis. It's not going to be easy, and Beşiktaş are the favorites in terms of the bookies as well. We'll give it our best shot here. All right, we have a tunnel interview, guys. Martin Linus doesn't feature in your team today. What is the thinking behind that? I'll tell you what the thinking behind that is. He's been in horrible form. I don't think he's been at his best lately, and maybe a spell out of the team will help him recapture his best form. Fernando Muslera set to make his 175th league appearance for the club today. Just what does he mean for everyone here? He's a great player, truly fantastic. All right, so here are the teams for the day. Again, Beşiktaş using their asymmetrical sort of 4-1-2-2-1 formation. Gökhan Inler is in the team for this game against us today. You will remember he was left out of the Super Cup game in which they blew us away earlier in the year. Instructions, which I never pay attention to. We might be the underdogs here, but the fans will be expecting a certain level of commitment, and it's the least we can give them that. Yeah, as most Football Manager players know, the sort of for the fans team talk is usually not a productive way to go. I'll consider it. How am I feeling about this? I don't want to tell them I expect a win because I don't, and they probably don't either. Let's tell them to get revenge. And they seem motivated. That was a good decision on my part, if I may say so. Apologies, guys. I had the sound on again. So we start the play here with Sabri now on the right wing. Schneider, Sigborsson. It'd be wonderful if we could get ahead early here, but Beşiktaş have taken over possession, and they're on the attack, but the highlights over. Corner. Rodolfo. Apologies, guys. That is my phone. Probably telling me that Donald Trump has declared war on Guatemala or something. Rodolfo now in the book. Abu Bakar. Alione. Tolga. Oof. I mean, really, that's a gilt-edged chance because he went right by his man. Rodolfo should have put it on target. So Beşiktaş, as we expected, in the ascendancy here early on. You know what? I may go ahead and use our more aggressive 5-1-2-2 formation early here. This could very well backfire, but I think we need to be proactive in trying to get a result out of this game, because if we just sit back and let them hit us, it's not going to go well. So let's switch over to this CWP poacher formation. Yassine, I think, will be better in the defensive forward role. I'm hoping he will. He's slightly better, but only marginally. Selçuk might be better as the enganche in the team. Well, it's actually worse, but Schneider is at his best in the attacking role, so I think that's how we'll use Selçuk. It's not ideal, but actually Tolga may be much better if we push him forward. How do I want to do this? Do I want to use Schneider as the enganche? I think I will, because Tolga's he's not wonderful. He's unconvincing, but it'll be all right. And then Selçuk can play in a much better role as a deep-lying playmaker. Let's move Hakan back into the center-back role. We will have Kavanda on the left, actually, because he's slightly better there. And we'll play Sabri on the right side. Let's just use this for a few minutes here in the first half, guys. See if we can catch Beşiktaş off guard. And if it's not going well, if we concede early or whatnot, then we'll fix things, guys. Abu Bakar goes right by his man. Oh, and Olcay really should have scored. And it's a corner kick, actually. So it did look like Muslera got a hand to it. Well done to him, but it's really under the cosh here for Galatasaray. Selçuk heads that away. Muslera collects that low cross. Or was it a shot? Will we ever know? One of the oldest questions in all of football, guys. Looks like we're being counterattacked on, as our formation, of course, does throw a few more people forward. Shemi cuts that out, or Semi, rather. Back now, Olcay. Crossed in, Semi. Oh, Abu Bakar scores. Looked like perhaps a goalkeeping error from Muslera. It's been disallowed for offside. Well, we've gotten lucky then, haven't we? Still, though, worrying goalkeeping from Muslera, even though that goal was chalked off. Olcay just past the post. Beşiktaş knocking on the door. Thus far, they have not broken through. Sheju looks like he's going to go in the book here, and he does. Free kick. Olcay, Hutchinson in acres of space, misses the target. Well, it is still 0-0, and I suppose that's something that we can be glad of. Oh, a lot of space for Uguzan. I can't quite read his name. And even if I could, I'm not sure I could pronounce it. Schneider with a free kick. Sabri with a lot of space on the right wing. Can he whip that ball in? No, Inler cuts it out. Sheju gives the ball away to Abu Bakar, and now it's a 3-on-2. Abu Bakar, Semi, well done. And now Schneider can counterattack. Sigborsson, there's a man ahead of him to the right. He takes it left. Hakan, Kavanda. Kavanda gives the ball away. Semi, who's been outstanding today, I have to say, in his defensive roles. In both formations, I think he's done very well. Selçuk trying to launch a counterattack through Sigborsson. Schneider is ahead of him. We do have decent numbers forward. Tolga, Sigborsson in space. Yassine, long shot, is miles away from its intended target. But we are now finding a little bit a little bit more in our counterattacking sense. Hutchinson looked like he maybe was about to score an own goal there. So Fabricio with the save. Seemed a little awkward from the Galatasaray corner kick. Abu Bakr, I think, is going to get to that. He does, shoots, misses. Another very, very good chance. Guilt-edged for Beşiktaş. It does seem like we are playing slightly better in this 5-1-2-2 formation, though, guys. And so I think I am going to leave it this way until halftime. Inler misses by a kilometer. Atrocious shot. I do wonder how much the sort of long distance shooting thing that I'm finding in this save, guys, is just an issue with, and we've given away a penalty. No, we've cleared it away. I do wonder how much of it has to do with the sort of formation or tactics that I'm using, the team shouts that I have set. Cavanda on the ball, but he gives it away, and how much of it just has to do with the hard coding of FM17, guys. I don't know. If you have any thoughts, please do leave a comment. Abu Bakr, Ogucan, Hutchinson, who's been one of the better players in the Turkish Super League this year. He's really led a lot of the sort of pundits' ratings. Alione, I think he had some time to take that down, but it looked like he tried to shoot it first time, and it was in the end easy for Muslera to save. As I mentioned, guys, I do think we're playing slightly better. Schneider whips that in. We have a lot of people forward. Sigborsson, Schneider hits the post, and Rodolfo nearly scores an own goal in clearing it out. Best chance of the match for Galatasaray by far. Selçuk whips the corner in. Oh, and Marcelo heads it away. And again, it was perilously close to going inside his own goal post. Selçuk will whip this in again. And this time, it's cleared to safety, and Yassine can't get to it before Marcelo does. Inler, that was a good ball from the wing to find Inler. Now he sends it out to Olcay. Sabri with a good tackle. Sigborsson, Schneider, Yassine ahead of him. He finds Yassine. Yassine turns his man and then misses by some distance. We are coming back into the game here, guys, which is helpful to see. I thought about making those two changes, guys, but I'm very, very, very skittish about making any changes. If we score or if we concede right before halftime, we are absolutely done for. And we've done it. We've given the goal away, and it doesn't look like that one is coming back. Right before halftime, I really could have seen it coming. It's an incredibly disappointing goal to give away, guys. So we're having some issues with the 3D match engine here, as you can see. Some guys skating around, which is an issue that SI said that they were going to sort out for FM17. And, of course, that goal is the last action of the first half. Wow. I think we're playing better than I anticipated we would, especially after we switched over to the new 5-1-2-2 tactic. I mean, what do you say when you give away a goal like that? We do need to check on Cavanda's fitness. His match sharpness has gone up a little bit, and his condition is 75, which is not ideal, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I think we'll leave him on, actually. How do I want to go about this team talk? I could yell at them, try and get them to work back into the game. I could tell them that they've been unlucky. I think I'll tell them to show me something else in the second half. And for the most part, they've looked fired up, with the exception of Cavanda, who looked to switch off. I'm satisfied with that. Hopefully we can come back and work our way back into the game. Maybe nick a draw here. Olcay on the ball. Looked like Tolga was going to strip him of possession, but they remain with the ball. Selçuk chops his man down. Alilone, whose name I've never been able to pronounce. Probably because I can't read. I should work on that. Inler with an absolute screamer. Looked like he was about 25 yards away, and Beşiktaş are as good as gold now. Really, a brilliant passing move from Beşiktaş. Just cut us to pieces and then found Inler at the top of the box, and Rodolfo makes it 3. at this point, I am considering going back to the more defensive formation just to try and stop the bleeding. As the flares are being lit off, look at that. It's one of those nice little things that they bring in for these new editions of FM. I like that. All right, yes, let's make a change here because we are being overrun at the start of the second half. I don't know if it was my fault for giving that team talk to try and get the team more fired up. Thought that would help, but it's clearly not been helping. Shimmy played pretty well. I don't want to take him off. Kavanda will probably have to go at some point, so we should perhaps think about that. I'll sort that out later. Sigborson will need to send back up top. Yassine. Schneider will switch. All right, so pretty obvious that we probably should bring Kavanda off. He's obviously struggling for match sharpness, and we've given him almost an hour here, so I think we'll pull him off. Linus would be the obvious choice of substitution. The only question is, do I want to use Linus as a inverted wingback? Yeah, he does look like he's quite a bit better in that role than he would be at defensive winger. Let's just see. Yeah, this suits both of these men better. So let's move Linus back to the inverted wingback role. Let's just tell him that the pressure's off. We don't need anybody to be a hero. This game is probably lost. Schneider looks like he's going to go in the book here, and he does. I mean, I didn't expect a result out of this game, guys. I'm not altogether that disappointed. But after the result against Fenerbahce, as Abu Bakar makes it 4, they are absolutely blowing us away. There was always a possibility that we could get some sort of result out of this game. I mean, Beşiktaş are the league leaders by a mile and a half. They've been really, really strong this year. I forgot to show you guys the league table, but their goal difference is more than a lot of teams' goals scored total is. They've been absolutely incredible, unstoppable this year. Yeah, we'll close them down more. And I suppose we will take a few more shots on goal. Selçuk misses the target. So it looks like this game was perhaps not a good one to do a live comm for, guys. Especially because I knew that we might be destroyed as they make it 5. But of course, Beşiktaş are huge local rivals, and this is an important game to try and pull us out of our slump. But as you can see, guys, the result has been quite the opposite. That's an awful bit of goalkeeping from Muslera. Rooted to the spot. Ogajan did have a lot of space, but in the end his shot was very close to Muslera. And it was just woeful. I think a 6.5 is really generous. There's always been, issues surrounding and we might be about to concede a 6th. Muslera with the save. There's always been issues with the ratings around goalkeepers. Some people say the ratings are OP. Oh, some people say that the ratings aren't good enough for a lot of goalkeepers. Yeah, and it's hard to get that right. Let's see, what changes do we want to make? I mean, perhaps we should go back to the 5-1-2-2 because we have conceded a few goals while using this more defensive formation. So while it's more intuitive to think that the 4-4-1-1 has produced better defensive results in this game, that maybe has not been the case. We have nothing to lose at this point, so why don't we? We'll move Sigborson back up top. Schneider we can use as the enganche, as we discussed earlier. Selçuk can sit in that gap. Hakan we'll use as center back, and Sabri and Linus can switch. Actually, we should probably use No, that's all right. We'll use Linus on the left side. I believe he's better on the left than Sabri is. They're both native to the right side of the field, but we are short Ramon Mota, so we'll have to sort of shoehorn one of them in there. We need to put on an attacking threat, guys, and I'm thinking that I'll bring on Josue. What are the ratings like for my midfielders? Wesley Schneider has been horrendous, but Yassine has been even worse. Let's see. Shall I bring on another striker? I suppose that's the right option at this point. Take off Yassine and bring on Aaron. How do they fit the roles better? Sigborsson's better as the defensive forward, and Aaron is totally familiar with the target man role. So let's go with this, guys. Maybe we can nick one goal and give ourselves a little bit of dignity. I don't think it would really be that. I don't think it would really constitute anything anywhere near dignity. But we can at least set goals for ourselves here. Tolga takes down his man, and it looks like he's going to receive a yellow card for that challenge. No, he's been given a pass. Look at that, Semi Kai on a 5.9. That is very harsh. I thought in the first half, at least early on, he really played pretty well to intercept a few balls, have some last-ditch challenges. Abu Bakar nearly makes it 6. I don't think he's been that poor. Obviously, conceding 5 goals, our defenders should and do have very low ratings, but that's 5.9 seems a little bit harsh. I would say Muslera deserves to have a much lower rating. He's been much more at fault for a lot of these goals, which should have been saved, frankly. They should have been saved. The defending's not been amazing, but Aaron looked like he had a bit of space there, but he has it stolen away. Aaron has a shot now after the loose ball is recovered by, I believe that was Schneider, but Aaron puts it into the side netting. Fabrizio plays it out to Marcelo. Should we use our last sub, guys? One thing I forgot to mention is that obviously because the game against Kastamonu went to penalties, we played 120 minutes in the midweek, and so we are there are a few players in the team who are short on condition. However, I did rotate the squad entirely for that Kastamonu game, which arguably is one of the reasons that we lost it in the end. A little bit of a good passing move here. Sigborsson hits the post. Ugh. But for the couple players who I did use, I think Schneider was one of them, perhaps Selchuk. I think I used Selchuk, Sabri. These guys, they played 2 hours worth of football in the middle of the week, so it's understandable that that's another impediment to us getting a result in this game. Yeah, more woes here at Galatasaray, guys, and it is a good thing that I've spent the better part of the last week working on the editor stuff for let's just bring on Hamid. He's an older player who can provide a little bit of stability. He's horrible as an attacking midfielder, though. I think we can move Selchuk forward. Yeah, we can. Selchuk any good as an enganche? Schneider's more native to the attacking midfielder role, so we'll just play him there, even though he's not that good at it. What was I saying, guys? I have been doing a fair bit of editor work for the other more long-term save I have planned, and if results continue to be pretty poor in this Galatasaray save, I may be expediting that process sooner rather than later, guys, because I don't think you want to watch us just struggle with this in this team. Galatasaray are a hard team to manage in Football Manager just because of their financial difficulties, because their team is on the older side and lacks a fair bit of class. They don't have the money to spend in the transfer market. There's a lot of money tied up with big contracts for these players who, as I mentioned in the first episode, are really, frankly, just not very good. It's a team in decline, and I think a more experienced, more skillful Football Manager player could really make a go out of a Galatasaray save. But it's something that I've struggled with. I think I've in many ways gotten the tactics wrong, as there's a long discussion between Hutchinson and the referee. Hutchinson receives a yellow card. But I also just think it's a difficult team to manage, and we have scored. We've pulled one back in the 89th minute. Aurelien Chejou Another goal from a set piece, which is a promising thing that one of the few silver linings in our run of plays, that we do seem to score a lot from set pieces. We do pretty well. Another bit of suspicious goalkeeping, as Fabrizio sort of had a limp arm kind of thrown in front of that. And there's our last substitution has finally come on. Only 1 minute of stoppage time. The referee is going to bring a halt to proceedings a little bit early, showing a bit of mercy, I suppose you could say. It is over. 5-1-2 Beşiktaş over Galatasaray. It was a very disappointing performance. I'm not sure it's going to help to really yell at the players, but let's do it anyway, just for fun. They look motivated. I've given them that team talk quite a few times in the latest run of form, as you would expect, guys, and it hasn't worked. They say they're fired up and motivated. Their reaction is that they're fired up, they're motivated, and then we go into the next game and we completely fall flat on our faces. Nothing changes. So it's been a struggle, guys. That is a lot of shots to muster in one match. 23 shots overall, 12 on target. Our defense, which has played so well for most of the year, which has been largely without fault for our poor play and our poor results, it's just absolutely woeful today. Really, really dreadful. Abu Bakar, 2 goals, 1 key pass, a 9.2. That's probably a little lower than it should be. Muslera with a 6.6. Quite generous. Quite generous. So, guys, Galatasaray have lost this Istanbul clash. That is going to send us tumbling down the table even further. We are in 6th. That win against against Fenerbahce did bring us back up to, I think it was 4th before the game. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But we were somewhere in and around this 4 or 5 region. And now with several teams with games in hand underneath us, you would expect we're going to slip down to somewhere in mid-table. And at some point, guys, I expect that the board are gonna come a-knocking, telling me, hey, you need to turn the results around, or you're getting the sack. So let's have a look at the schedule, guys, because I do want to continue this save. Galatasaray are a huge team, and I like the idea of sort of resurrecting this team that has these major struggles. So we'll plan ahead, despite my frustration with this save, and I'm sure you guys aren't enjoying watching me just get destroyed all the time. Let's look ahead. We've gotten the matches against the 2 other sort of big dogs in the Turkish Super League out of the way now, against Beşiktaş and Fenerbahce there. And it looks like probably this mid-December match against Trabzonspor, who are a quite good team in the Super League, probably Turkey's maybe 4th team on the balance of things. As you can see, they did enjoy a spell of relative success during sort of the 2000s, and they've fallen off the pace a little bit in the last few years. But I believe this year they're in and around the top of the table. They're in 3rd right now, so they're really sitting where we would like to be. I think that Trabzonspor game is the next one that we'll do for episode 5, guys. Ideally, we'll pull out of this run of poor form. Ideally, we'll hang on to our job and hope that the board show lenience. Hopefully, the things that they are liking about what we're doing, like the club philosophies, the transfers, the handling of club finances. Hopefully that can be a saving grace for us, guys. So yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. That is it for today, guys. Please like, please subscribe, and please come back for episode 5 with Galatasaray, the Giants of Istanbul.